Inside a quiet psychiatric office in Miami, Dr. Brian Weiss is guiding a patient named Pedro through a state of deep hypnotic relaxation. Pedro begins to describe a traumatic scene from ancient Palestine. He is dying on a dirt road, his body broken, while his daughter cradles his head and weeps over him. As Pedro struggles to name himself within the vision, Weiss acts on a sudden, unexplainable instinct. He leans forward and asks, "Is your name Eli?" Pedro is startled, his concentration momentarily broken. He asks Weiss how he could possibly know that name, and if the doctor is somehow seeing the same vision. Weiss wasn't in the vision, but he had heard this exact testimony before. 2 months earlier, a woman named Elizabeth sat in this same chair and described this identical death, but from the daughter's perspective. In their modern lives, they are strangers. Elizabeth is a businesswoman from the Midwest grieving her mother. Pedro is a Mexican man grieving his brother. They have never met. Yet, separated only by a few days of scheduling, these two strangers have used the same doctor's office to relive the exact same historical tragedy. The connection between their files isn't limited to Palestine. Both patients describe a nomadic life on the plains of ancient Mongolia. Pedro and Elizabeth both recall being husband and wife in that century, enduring the violent destruction of their village together. Weiss realizes he is tracking a single bond across millennia. He's looking at two people who have found and lost each other for thousands of years. Destiny has placed these two eternal companions in the same city, visiting the same specialist, and sitting in the same chair. Despite the scale of this discovery, Weiss is bound by strict doctor-patient confidentiality. He cannot legally or ethically tell them that their soulmate is in his waiting room. Guided by the oath to do no harm, he worries that forced intervention might disrupt their clinical recovery or damage the trust they have in his therapy. Because the therapy is succeeding, both patients are healing. As their grief subsides, their need for psychiatric sessions is coming to an end. Pedro's time in Miami is finished. He's already begun making arrangements to move back to Mexico. Elizabeth is also moving forward, ready to close her file and leave the clinic behind. Human ethics and clinical boundaries have created a stalemate, and it appears the two will walk away without ever knowing the other existed. Weiss makes his final decision to honor his professional code. He allows both Pedro and Elizabeth to leave his practice in silence. The setting shifts from the quiet, leather-bound interior of the doctor's office to the noise and movement of a modern airport. Elizabeth arrives for a scheduled flight, checked in and ready to move on with her life. Clinical ethics have effectively blocked their reunion, leaving the resolution of their story to the mechanics of the world outside the office. Elizabeth's original flight is abruptly canceled, throwing her travel itinerary into total chaos. During the rush of rebooking, she is assigned a seat on a completely different, rerouted aircraft. Elizabeth boards the new flight and takes her seat next to a man she has never seen before. The stranger is Pedro, though neither of them has any reason to look up from their reading material. Mid-flight, the plane hits a sudden, violent pocket of turbulence. Reacting to the jolt, Pedro reflexively reaches out and grabs Elizabeth's hand to steady her. The physical contact triggers an immediate sensation, a deep, cellular familiarity that Elizabeth hasn't felt in any current relationship. Two souls, separated for decades by geography and for centuries by death, are finally sitting side by side. After thousands of years, the recognition is instant.